Sagittarius. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to Carol's Universe, Tarot Readings from the Heart. Hope you guys are well. So we're going to do a reading from the 15th of April through to the 30th of April using the Modern Witch Tarot deck by Lisa Searle and the Psychic Tarot for the Heart as your spiritual reading from John Holland, okay? We're using a 12 card spread today. Card at the top of the reading looks at what you need to be focusing on for the next 2 weeks. The 10 cards in the center are talking about the situation around that, and the card at the bottom is advice. All right, bear with me. Okay then, Sagittarius, let's have a look. Right, you need to be focusing on the Emperor, okay? I'm not going to read this as a person. I mean, it could be for some of you guys, maybe your partner. Emperors are usually husbands. Could be a partner. But for me, it's more about boundaries with the Emperor. It's more about asserting oneself with the Emperor and taking charge. It's more about making those big decisions when I look at the Emperor energy showing here, because that is a few of the common traits of this card. If you looked at keywords with the Emperor, this is all about somebody who's strong, somebody who's powerful, somebody who's authoritative, somebody who takes charge, somebody who takes dominion over others, you know. Somebody who is a traditionalist, somebody who's a great advisor is the Emperor. But also this is all about protection as well, protecting yourself, protecting your boundaries. What's going on underneath this card? So we've got the Judgment card. So Judgment is about making really important decisions, but also it's a card about release, and it's also a card about facing up to your demons. So it's a card that represents the need to face up to the things that you've buried down there as well, with the Judgment energy showing here. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, I feel that there needs to be a focus. This week it's about, well, over the next 2 weeks, there's a need to kind of release oneself from that Five of Cups energy. And that's why I think the focus needs to be on setting boundaries as well, especially if, for example, you drink too much, for example, can be a thing with the Five of Cups. Five of Cups is a card that says that you have to release things like, you know, addictions, which is what the cups can represent. I can't say certain words because if you say certain words now on YouTube, you don't get monetized for the video. So you got to be really, really careful what you say. We're very much being policed at the moment in terms of language and things like that. So this is, let's put it this way, this is a card about addiction as well. And there is now a time to release, but you know, release those things. But also the Five of Cups in the main is about sadness and regrets. And it's now time with the Judgment energy to face up to those things and to release them. Because some of you guys have been, the bodies here that are rising up, Sagittarius, they were once buried. And really what's being buried is hurt, and it is regret, and you've been burying those things. You've not been facing up to certain things. So I actually don't think it's time to release it. I think it's time to face up to this. I think it's time to face up to this, okay? Because the next 2 weeks, the focus needs to be on the Emperor, okay? And I feel that this is more about getting your life in order, or getting certain things in order with yourself, emotionally and spiritually wise, Sagittarius, because there is a need to face up to whatever this is. Some of you guys haven't faced up to something that's really hurt you quite deeply with that Five of Cups and the Judgment energy showing here. The Page of Swords energy showing here. So the Page of Swords energy is information, it's writing. I think somebody who hurt you, this Page of Swords. I think that some of you guys were deeply hurt by somebody's words, for example, showing here. And there's a need to face up to that. It's either there's a need to face up to it or to release it. One of the two. The more that I actually look at this, I actually feel that it's about releasing it, to be perfectly honest with you. Because actually, when I look at it again, the spread, it feels like you've been holding on to whatever it is that this person said. Page of Swords can be quite cruel in terms of language. And you can see this Five of Cups showing there. So it just feels like it's a time to face up to, or to focus on releasing any pain that you've been holding on to. Because the Five of Cups in a way is a card about holding on to certain things. When you've got the Five of Cups, you're holding on to things that have hurt you. It's a very kind of painful card when you get that card. There's still a lot of sadness and regret and loss involved in the situation. Unless this card is reversed, you're still experiencing a lot of pain. So it's time to kind of focus on releasing that pain. Somebody hurt you and it's time to really focus on doing that and really kind of getting your life back into order with the Emperor energy showing here. The Eight of Coins, there's a need for you guys, I think, over the next few weeks to focus on your work with the Eight of Coins energy showing here. Okay, so work is going to bring a great deal of fortune, I think. You know, because the Eight of Coins is working towards bringing in fortune. It's ruled by Virgo, so this is providing services, okay, that can make you fortune. So maybe there's a need to focus on providing services or working on projects that can actually, with this Wheel of Fortune, bring you a lot of money in, bring you a lot of abundance. But and this may be what's going on with some of you Saggies. You're focusing too much on a situation that really tore you apart. Somebody really hurt you. They were quite cruel through their words, and there's been a great deal of focus on that with those cards there. But the universe is saying it's time to release that, Sagittarius, and focus on maybe working on projects, or if you wanted to set up a new online business or something like that, something that's going to bring you a great deal of money. That's where you need to be focusing, not on this. This won't get you anywhere. The Hermit. All right, so the Hermit is a card about being on one's own. Sometimes this card can be about isolation, and sometimes when we are, you know, at the moment everybody's kind of, you know, in a situation whereby, you know, we're having to adhere to a new set of rules. And being in this space here can often, I think, encourage these energies here as well. But this is about withdrawing from. And actually, if you look at this Hermit here, she's got the computer laptop. You know, she's got the laptop open. It's really interesting. I'm wondering if she's about to open it or shut it. I think there's something here you need to shut down with that card there. The High Priestess showing here, the Hermit. Intuitive, 2 major arcana cards showing here. Okay. The Hermit is gaining insight into your intuition. So I feel that you really need to be focusing on what your intuition is telling you to do here with these 2 cards showing up here, okay? Yeah, and let it go. So I think you really need to be focusing, honing in on what your intuition is telling you with that High Priest, and it's time to just let this situation go. It's time to let it go, I would say here, okay? Knight of Cups energy. This is something about offering something here, maybe. 5 of Swords energy. I think that you just need to forgive them. All right, I think that the next 2 weeks it's time to forgive, because I actually feel that the thing is, when you don't forgive, Sagittarius, when something happens and somebody hurt, and I've been there myself, I really have, and I think that, you know, this is a week. I mean, you've got 2 5s in the reading, which is talking about after a painful situation we have changes. So you've got a 5 of Cups and the 5 of Swords. We've also got 2 8s in the reading. Multiple 8s mean advancement and movement and change. So the focus needs to be on healing. Okay, moving away from a situation, I think, that has caused some of you guys a great deal of pain here. All right, the focus needs to be on kind of mourning it and letting it go. But I think it's not even mourning it anymore. You've mourned it for too long. There's a situation that you've mourned for too long here, Sagittarius. And as I've said, I've been in the same situation where somebody's really hurt you and you hold on to that pain for a very long time. But the trouble with that, when you're holding on to pain for too long, what happens is that you end up letting it consume you. That's the problem. That's the problem. When you're holding on to pain, you end up letting it consume you. And I think that the universe is trying to tell you, Sagittarius, that this needs to be released with the Judgment energy. What is the advice? 3 of Wands. Start expanding your horizons now. It's time to start kind of expanding your horizons with the 3 of Wands energy showing there. All right, because that's the 3 of Wands. Expand your horizons. You know, whether that's in learning new things, whether that's in kind of setting up a business that makes you money. It's now time to start focusing on a new direction with this 3 of Wands energy showing here. Okay, we're going to do this reading again. For the next 2 weeks, 15th to the 30th of April 2020, Sagittarius, your focus needs to be Emperor. All right, so you need to focus on not only creating some healthy boundaries for yourself around whatever this energy is here for you, but also it's about trying to re-establish some order within your life. Because even though some of you guys may have just been kind of going by with the flow and just doing life and, you know, living life on its ordinary terms each day, there is something, I think, internal for some of you Sagittarians that may have been consuming you for quite a while. And I think when it says that you need to start re-establishing some order within your life, it's saying to you that it's time to release with the Judgment energy that hurt that you've been holding on to. All right, somebody, I think, really hurt you with their words. They were very abusive, I think, for some of you guys, and it's time now to release that and to focus on working toward things that are going to bring in either fortune, could be financial fortune, or that are going to bring in some positive change, or working towards bringing in changes for the better with the Wheel of Fortune energy showing there. You haven't got time to be focusing on this. It's just going to consume you even further. And with what's going on now, where we're all kind of having to stay at home and stuff like that, what better time for this type of negative energy to eat into a person, especially if you live on your own. Yeah, so you need to be, you know, finding distractions away from that can encourage positive and, you know, far more happier changes. All right, you need to really start kind of focusing on that intuition that's telling you that now is the time to let this go, and also take the higher ground, because you can see she's walking up higher ground. So right now is the time over the next couple of weeks, Sagittarius, to focus on, because the Hermit is focusing in to the High Priestess. All right, so focusing in on your intuition that tells you now you need to just take the higher ground on this situation here. And really taking the higher ground with that Eight of Cups is all about that. Offering forgiveness to this person. That Page of Swords who did this to you, they're that Five of Swords. They're the same person. Page of Swords, Five of Swords, same person. All right, this person was quite abusive, I think. And it takes a really strong person to take the higher ground. Now, you don't have to physically, you know, you don't have to get on a call to them now and say, I forgive you. But you can forgive them in your heart. And in turn, that's going to release this energy here. So the universe is saying, go inward with the Hermit energy and really focus on your intuition, because your intuition is calling you now to take the higher ground in this. You can carry on allowing their behavior to consume you, Sagittarius, but it's actually not going to get you anywhere. So you really need to be focusing now internally on your intuition. And your intuition is telling you it's now time, Sagittarius, to take the higher ground and offer them Knight of Cups, forgiveness. So you're offering, because the Knight of Cups is offering forgiveness to the adversary. Offer forgiveness to, because it's offering the cup of forgiveness. Offer forgiveness to the adversary, okay, which is the Page of Swords. It's not an easy thing to do when somebody's really hurt you, but I think that it's just saying in your heart, because he's holding his heart. So in your heart, you need to offer forgiveness to this person, because I think if you can do that, if you can say, you know what, I really held on to this pain for a very long time. I didn't like what this person did, but I can now finally put this to bed. I can offer forgiveness and I can let it go, because that's what it is about taking the higher ground. You need to now take the higher ground in this, you know, you really do. You need to take the higher ground, and you need to say, actually, I'm going to offer this person, they've hurt me, but I'm going to offer this person forgiveness. Because not only does it kind of, is it you taking the higher ground and kind of saying, you know what, I'm just going to take the higher ground in this situation. I'm not going to lower myself to allowing this person to consume me. It's also going to make you feel a hell of a lot better. It's not for their benefit that you're forgiving them, it's for your own. Okay, so you really need to be focusing on forgiveness, okay? Because in the end, it's only forgiveness that really can heal. All right, and the advice is start exploring, start expanding your horizons. Okay, start kind of, we can't do it physically, but we can certainly do it online, whatever. Start kind of branching out creatively, perhaps, that type of thing. Maybe there are friends that you can make online, that type of thing. But you certainly need to kind of be branching out and expanding your horizons going forward. Let's have a quick look at what the spiritual advice is in 2 cards. What is the spiritual advice that you have for Sagittarius, please, in 2 cards? What's the spiritual advice that you have for Sagittarius in 2 cards over this next 2 weeks? All right, I've got 2 cards I'm going to take from the top here because they're slipping into my hands. See, that's the Eight of Swords, I think. Is it the Eight of Swords? I'm never sure what swords are in this. I think that this is the Eight of Swords. Helpless and hopeless would be the Eight of Swords. Somebody who feels powerless. Okay. If you feel powerless, I mean, this is the Hermit again. You need to go inward. All right. And I think with the Hermit energy that we need to kind of go inward, and maybe there's some meditation. I think that whenever you're feeling helpless and hopeless, whenever you're feeling angry, because the Eight of Swords is all about internalizing pain. That for me is what the Eight of Swords is. All right. The Eight of Swords is internalized pain. It's internalized anger. It's feeling a sense of powerlessness. Whenever you're feeling like that, I think that you just need to seek solitude from it. You need to try and detach from it with that Seek card, with the Hermit energy. Okay, you need to see, there were 2 more cards that wanted to come out in my hand, and I think I'm going to take them. I think the spiritual advice, Sagittarius, is that when you're feeling helpless and hopeless, okay, you need to seek solitude with this Hermit card, number 9 here as well, okay. And you also need to try and detach yourself from feeling lonely here, which is the 5 of Pentacles, I think. yeah, or yeah, Five of Pentacles. So whenever you're feeling helpless and hopeless, seek solitude, but also try and detach with that Hermit energy from the feeling of loneliness, okay? The Hierophant is here, okay? Maybe you want to get some advice or gain some wisdom, all right? Maybe you can go online. Maybe you can listen to a charismatic speaker or somebody who does one of those sort of church programs. But gain wisdom, seek wisdom. I think as well with this Hermit and the Hierophant showing here, you need to seek wisdom, especially if you're feeling powerless here, especially if you're feeling alone in what's going on right now. So if you're feeling helpless and hopeless, feeling alone at the moment because we're in the situation that we're in, seek wisdom, seek learning, seek teaching, you know. You really need to be kind of seeking ways or finding ways that you can try and soothe and heal yourself, because the more that you focus, I think, on situations that you have no power over and that are done and dusted but you still hold on to, the more that they'll consume you. The universe doesn't want this to consume you. It wants you to find a way that you can try and alleviate that energy, and you can alleviate it through positive action. And positive action is about kind of not only spending time maybe in nature if you've got a garden, but also spending time, you know, in meditation, but also spending time, you know, learning different things as well, whether that's, you know, going to an online class, or, you know, whether it's learning a new trade or learning a new subject or whatever the case might be. You know, you need to be putting your focus elsewhere, and you need to be putting your focus in places that I think are actually going to be, well, I don't even think I know are going to be of far more benefit to you in the long run. All right, my darlings, I'd like to say thanks ever so much for joining me on Carol's Universe. And if you'd like to order a personal reading, just click on the link in the comments section or in the end screen. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.